Hey everybody, this is Jen Gresham with the Bright Entrepreneurs Club, and I am so excited to be introducing you today to Ellen Rohr. Ellen and I met, a couple of years ago, and I just think the stuff that she does with business planning, which most of us have kind of like a mild conniption when we think about that, she actually makes it fun. And Ellen is a lot of fun. She's super smart. So, Ellen, tell us how we can start business planning without despair.
Oh, you're so cute. And I love, love, love you. And I love what you're doing in your community. It's an honor to be here. Well, first off, business planning doesn't have to cause, a lot of agita. That's, I think, an Italian word for heartache. We don't need that. What we want to do is just think about business planning as a way to get focused and get motivated in the direction of what we want to have happen. A lot of times we start a business with this great vision of a castle in the air. We're going to make our dreams come true. We're going to work from home. We're going to live the high life and make lots of money. And then we get caught in the grind of it and start to lose hope and energy. A business plan is good for getting started, but it's even better if you found yourself reaching a plateau or you're kind of dull in your business. So business planning is anything you do that helps you get focused and recommitted to an action plan that will lead you in the direction of your dreams. And what we're going to do today in a very short period of time is we're going to tell you how to put one together. And you can put a really rocking business plan together in a weekend. You can put a business plan together in 2 or 3 words or a vision board if you want. I'm going to give you some options and teach you how to put a business plan together that will, help you get off the dime and make your recommit to your own dreams. And I
I
want to
love
tell you
it.
a little bit of, do you love this picture? This is me in the 1980s.
No, really?
Well, Max was born in 1985, and he looks about 5 right there. So I guess, but I still had big hair for quite a while and mom jeans, as you can see. But once upon a time, I had a plumbing business with my husband, and that's really where, as the wife of a plumber in a family plumbing business, this is really where I got introduced to the need to do some business planning. But you know what? I didn't call it that yet. When I was a kid, I had a lot of jobs. I, jumped around and I wasn't very committed to anything. Then I got married, I had a baby, and my husband, the plumber, had a business. And his partner died tragically, suddenly at age 33. And I quit my job and I went to work in the family business, and it was absolutely awful. And what stressed us out the most was, I didn't realize at the time, I didn't have words for it, but what was happening is that he and I had different ideas of what we should do in this business. So one day I finally said to him, well, what do you see? What do you want to have happen? Because I'm thinking we could grow, we could, get to 10 trucks, we could expand our marketplace. And he told me that day, he said that you can get rid of all the employees, you can do anything you want to do, but I like working all by myself. Okay, so I'm thinking we're going to grow to 10 trucks, and he's thinking that he's going to work all by himself. So what happened is we hit upon an essential element of business planning which is, what do you see? What do you want to be when you grow up? And if you and your partner are not on the same page, you're going to run into trouble. And if you work all by yourself in a business of one, if you're not clear on what you want to have happen, what you want to be, what you want this business to be, then you've got no hope of getting anywhere but where you are. Does that make sense? Did I say
Yeah,
that
no, I mean, I've been
awkwardly?
there. I've been there. So, yeah, I totally agree that having a very clear vision, that clarity is so important to figuring out what you should be spending your time on.
Well, what happened with us is we decided not to work together anymore. And that is a legitimate outcome of business planning, because I think you get to be what you want to be when you grow up. And I think you get to do what you want to do. And while at the time it was very stressful to come to this conclusion, I think we're married because we actually did. We left each other free and clear to do what it is that we wanted to do. And one of the things that I decided that I wanted to do is I wanted to know if I had the chops to grow a bigger business. And I got the opportunity to do that. So let me click through a slide or two to kind of tell a little bit more of the story. So as Hot Rod, my husband's name is Hot Rod the plumber. You can see why I married him, right?
Totally.
Okay. Totally. So as Hot Rod and I were trying to get our arms around this little business and figure out what we wanted to do, I would go to class. I went to seminars and classes. That was even before we had webinars. But it's the same kind of thing that you make a reach out to try and learn from books and programs, how to get your arms around business, how to be successful. And, raise your hand if you've done this. When I would come back from one of these webinars or, webinars now, seminars then, I'd have a new manual, I'd have a new book, I'd have a new, you've got to do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my bookshelf started to fill with all these different books and manuals and pieces of advice. And I got pretty overwhelmed. Can you relate to that?
Oh my gosh. So everyone listening to this will be able to relate to that. Yes, because that was the foundation actually of why I started this group, was because so many of us were investing in all of these courses, and we really, and I still struggle with this, how to implement all these things that you're learning.
Oh, I'm so excited because I've got one concept that's really going to reduce the overwhelm for you, and it's coming up in 2 slides. Okay. So, what
Woohoo.
happened is all of this information was going up on my shelf, and I would have pieces of it. And, one guy would say this, you got to do this every day. Someone else would say this, and the words were different. The language was different. It was almost like some of it was in French and Spanish and English, and I was trying to piece it all together. All right. So that was my experience. I didn't have a word yet for business planning. And then, Hot Rod and I decided to sell our business. We'd done enough to improve our cash flow, to improve our profitability, to grow the top line. We'd done enough that we actually had a business worth selling, and it was a huge win for us. It also allowed us some, wherewithal to start our own businesses. He went off to start a business all by himself, and he totally rocked it. And then I decided I was going to help other mom and pop businesses figure out the financial area of their business and to try and be more successful. Again, I wasn't into business planning myself at all at this point. I was mostly focused on the money, how to keep track of the money, how to come up with a selling price. Those things had a huge effect on my own business. And I thought, you know what, maybe I could start a business teaching people those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened when I was teaching a seminar of my own, I met a company, a venture capitalist company, and they said to me after I did the presentation, they said, you know what, we're looking for the president of our new venture. It's going to be a plumbing franchise, and we want you to be in charge. And here I am. This is the experience I have so far. I have run a 4-truck company in a small town of like 5,000 people. I've started this little business where I'm teaching other mom and pop shops how to make more money, and I get this opportunity. But notice the intention that I had in those early conversations with Hot Rod about what we wanted to do. I was clear that I wanted to see if I could grow a big company. And lo and behold, stuff is going to find you. So while I'm a big planner, planning leads you to serendipitous offerings. The plan can never be so set in stone that you don't allow yourself to recognize something that's coming out of the blue sky. Does this make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like for me, one of the biggest things to come out of my business so far is not just the sales that I'm doing through my own business, but it was a contract that came through my previous employer. And,
Uh-huh.
that far outweighs anything I've ever made as an entrepreneur. But that only came about because I had a business.
Yeah, and you had that intention that you want to work from home, you want to prioritize your family, you want to be flexible, you want to make more money, have more control. So those were the elements of your intention, and then kaboom. When you're clear on what you want, sometimes you get a little wormhole of serendipitous opportunity. And for me, it was this one. And I got to work with these venture capitalists, and we grew a company called Benjamin Franklin, the Punctual Plumber. By the way, the first thing I did was I bought a book called Franchising for Dummies because I had no idea what I was doing. But what I learned from my venture capitalist mentor, the guy who hired me, said this: okay, you got to put a business plan together. I'll give you the template. Turn this business plan, here's the template, you give it back to me, and then this is going to be the plan. Because now when you work for a venture capitalist, they're not going to give you $1 million or $100,000 or $10,000 without knowing what you're going to do with it. So that's what business planning is. It's okay, what are you going to do with this idea?
Right.
Craft the intention, put a plan together. And the thing that was so cool about this is that I wouldn't have done it for myself. But because I was using someone else's money, they imposed it on me. It was one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned. Why don't we do this for ourselves? That's what I'm going to encourage you to do today. Right? Create your own business plan. Whether or not it's required is beside the point. It's just a darn good idea.
I'm
So
going to
his
do it, by the
intention,
way. I'm going to finally do
okay,
this. So I'm
yeah,
actually, not only am I hosting this, I'm hanging on every word.
okay, your commitment is here. So what he did is he gave me a business plan template, and I put it back together. And I'm going to go over the elements of a business plan here in just a second. And most of it is a wild ass guess, because it doesn't exist yet. All right. So if you've got this idea, well, how can I put a plan together? I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody does. It's all a guess. More than a guess, it's an intention. It's what we want to have happen. When I gave him the business plan, he said, okay, and he gave it back to me. I'm not making this up, hardbound. It was a gesture that, okay, this is what you said you're going to do. Now do it. Now I know it's going to change the second you get started, but I want to formalize the commitment that you said you were going to do what's in this plan, and I expect you to do it. And lo and behold, as soon as you get started, the plan will change and morph, and all that's fine. It's never done, it's never wrong, but it was a symbolic gesture that this is what we're going to commit to. Now, this is the slide I told you that's going to change your life. As you know, to cut to the chase and where I am now, business planning has become a huge part of my life. With that business, with Benjamin Franklin, we grew from 0 to 47 locations and 40 million in franchisee sales in under 2 years. That's what a plan can do for you. I get goosebumps telling myself about it, and I lived it. In fact, I'm getting ready. By the way, Jen, this is news. I'm going to franchise again. I've got a brand new franchise. We just signed the documents. We're going to be open for business in early 2014. I'm going to do it again. And we got a plan, baby. But
Wow.
the plan was everything. So the plan is, what we want to do and how we're going to do it. And here's the high-tech tool of choice. I use a 3-ring binder. This is my current, right here, the one that was created for me by one of my clients who's a tattoo artist and a leather worker. Look at that.
That
He's
is so
also in
cool.
prison, but that's another story. But he created a binder for me, and it's just a 3-ring binder, and in the binder are the different areas of your business all tabbed up. And what happened is that when I went to a seminar on marketing, okay, I
Hmm.
came back and I took the few things that I was going to implement from that seminar, and I 3-hole punched them and I put them in the tab under marketing. All right. And so when you go to a webinar or a seminar on finance and you come up with a cool little budgeting template, then you can put that piece of the puzzle in the financial tab of your business plan. Does this make sense?
Now, do you put the whole thing or do you put like a summary and kind of your main takeaways? Because I'm thinking my 3-ring binder could get pretty big.
Your 3-ring binder could get pretty big, and what'll happen is you'll end up with spin-off binders. For instance, if you have on the marketing segment, you might just put a summary of what you're going to do for your marketing plan, and then the actual marketing pieces and procedures could be in another binder or could actually be in a file.
Okay. Because I know
Does
for
that make sense?
me, yeah, like I know for me, one of the things I've really wanted to do is to start capturing kind of big nuggets from all of the things I'm consuming because I am a voracious reader
Mm-hmm.
and I'm reading business related material all the time. But, I lose a lot because I'm not capturing it anywhere other than my Kindle. So unless I pull that book back up in my Kindle or whatever, I feel like I'm losing those bits that might be really helpful. Is there a way to kind of, I mean, do you recommend if I go to a seminar saying, what's one thing that I'm going to start inserting into my plan?
Well, I'll tell you what happened is after I did this, I wrote a book called the Bare Bones Biz Plan, and it is a 6-week plan where you work at least an hour a day and you put together your binder. And I kind of describe what should go into this binder page by page, section by section. All right. But even that, some of my clients said, could you make it go faster? Could it be even simpler? I tell you what, even I now don't have everything that I recommend in this book in my business plan. So getting back to your question is, I'm getting better and better at, if I'm not going to use an idea right now, I let it go.
Hmm.
Because there is no shortage of information. It's implementation that becomes so critical. So what I try and do is keep my business plan pretty thin and pretty focused. And if I run out of ideas, I'll go looking, but I don't feel compelled anymore to implement every good idea that I get.
Oh,
So
fascinating.
let me share with you now. I know this time is racing by. I want to share with you now what I think the essential elements in the business plan could be. One of the ways to put it together, and you cannot do this wrong. So I'm going to show you, like, if you were to spend a weekend, Jen, putting together your business plan. Let me give you some guidelines for how to spend this weekend, and then maybe dig into some of the exercises a little bit so that we can gain some more clarity about what you'd actually end up with in your binder.
Good. And I think
Okay.
maybe we should say you cannot do this wrong on every slide.
You cannot do this wrong. Anytime that you spend, in our culture, now you live in England, right?
Yeah.
In our culture in the US, and I don't know if it's like this in England, but in our culture in the US, it is not valued to be doing nothing. And thinking looks like you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason why thinking is so devalued here.
I love
Does
thinking,
that
but
make sense?
I totally agree with you. And I think especially as an entrepreneur, because it's the panic, right?
Uh-huh.
Most early entrepreneurs are panicked. And when you're panicked, you have the fight or flight response. And so sitting there thinking does not seem to fit in with the fight or flight.
And so when we come from that point of energy where we're all scattered and stressed, I try not to act when my energy is in a complete meltdown.
Yeah.
What I try and do is just, calm the blank down, and then whatever action I take from that point is probably going to be a little more effective. That's a little side note. So one of the things that I was asked as I was putting together this business planning process and teaching other people to do it, once I left the franchise company, I was all in on helping companies not only with the financial cleanup, but also with business planning. So this 6-week plan kind of took front and center with my work with my clients. But it became evident that 6 weeks was a lot of time in an entrepreneur's life, and not everybody was getting through the whole process. So I became obsessed with, could I shorten it up? I'm all about making things simpler. So my latest book is the Weekend Biz Plan, and I want to examine it with you today. Like, could you put a business plan together in a weekend? Yes. Could you do it in an afternoon? Why not? Take a swing. In a weekend, let's look at this for the next few minutes together. In a weekend, let's see what you could do that would be
Okay.
effective. Okay, so first off, so Jen, I'm going to talk just to you. I'm coaching you now on what you could do to put your plan together, okay?
Awesome.
So on, pick a weekend and clear the deck. So, farm your daughter and your husband out. Don't, disconnect the phone, leave it in the freezer or something. You're going to need some time to spend by yourself and thinking. Now, if you work with a partner, it would be great if you and your partner could do this together.
Okay.
A 3-ring binder, some paper, and a pencil is great. You could do everything I suggest on an iPad or a computer. If you're much more comfortable with tech stuff, then do it. Have food in the house so you don't have to go out and go shopping, and then it's just all you. Now, these next exercises, this page right here and the next page, there's a few exercises on it. And during the course of the weekend, I want you to spend some time in each area of your business. And I'm going to define these exercises, and none of them are going to come as a surprise to you. You've heard them all at all those webinars and seminars that you've been to before. And if you have some of the pieces already, don't recreate them. Go get them, 3-hole punch them, and put them in your binder.
Okay, wait. So I want to go back just a minute to Friday
Okay.
because it seemed
Okay.
like all I did was get rid of everybody, but I didn't actually do anything.
You didn't. You're just getting ready.
Okay,
Get a
good.
good
Okay.
night's sleep. Okay, yeah. So Friday is just clear the decks.
Okay.
Okay, Saturday and Sunday you're going to work on your plan.
Okay.
So, good night's sleep. You make sure you're not going to be interrupted. Free your time up. Have all your supplies. That's Friday. Now, Saturday and Sunday is when you're going to actually work on the plan. And these are the exercises. I want to talk about the first one, and that's the perfect life. Let me see if I can just click right over to this one. I'm going to talk about the perfect life exercise. Have you ever heard about putting a vision board together?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that's a vision board. A vision board is just a visual depiction of what you want to have. So I like working with a team. I'm not someone who likes to work all by myself. I like prioritizing family. I love animals. I love travel. I love to run and garden. I want to win an Emmy someday as a host of my own reality TV show. And I'm starting a franchise. Here it is.
Wow,
So
wait,
a
you
vision
want to win
board,
an
do you
Emmy?
love?
Sorry,
Yeah, and
you
that's
want
just
to win an
thrown
Emmy?
in.
Yeah, random. Okay, sorry.
Random. Well, I want to win an Emmy as the host of an Extreme Makeover Family Business Edition television show. So aligned with what I like to do, I think I would just be darling teaching that on a broader stage.
I do too,
So
by the
now
way.
all, oh yeah, now all these things may not come to pass, but why not? Why not just honor that which you want? All right,
And
now.
so, can I just say something about this? Because,
Mhm.
as someone in this business, in terms of getting clarity, I want to point out that the first time you make your vision board, it'll probably be, I don't want to say wrong because we already said you can't do this wrong. It
Right.
probably won't be what you really want. I
You
know when
think it'll be more toned down?
I just think you don't really know what you want until you get into it. And so let
Okay,
me give
that's
you
a
an
great point.
example, right? Like when I first left my job to start my own business, I had visions of like going to farmers markets and cooking and playing with my daughter every day and lighthearted. I mean, it was like so fantasy world. It was nuts. And it wasn't that can't happen. It's that that's not actually what I wanted. That's not me.
Huge good point. Now, as we wrap up, we're already into this 24 minutes.
Okay, I know. But this is so valuable. This is so, so
It is so
valuable.
valuable. And so, if you were to do one exercise this weekend, a vision board, if you're into it, like if you can't see yourself cutting pictures out of a magazine, you're probably not it's a right brain, left brain thing. The alternative is to write an essay. I wake up and this is what I do. And you want the life to be senior to the business. For me, a business is an integral part of my life. This is something I've discovered through business planning. Till the day I die, I'm going to work. There's just nothing in me that wants to retire. So
Yep.
I know that I didn't know that then, like you said, this thing will morph. But either by writing it down if you're more left brain, or creating a vision board, or both if you really want to explore the activity, the perfect life exercise is probably the most powerful one, because once you write down what it is that you really want, and it may change or you may have a big question mark. I've had people break down in tears because they've never asked themselves the question, what
Yeah.
do I want? Right? So it'll change, but do something. And in the course of the weekend, what I recommend is that you do this for an hour and then stop.
Okay.
Okay, so this is again something we think if it's not done, it's no good. It's fine, it's started. Come back to it, move on.
Okay.
All right, then the next exercise in the business planning process is come up with a mission. And a mission is an answer to the question why. Again, this is a huge thing. You could spend the rest of your life answering this question. What I suggest is just spend an hour on it. Just an
Okay.
hour. And you may come up with, I want to make a lot of money. I want to help people. I want to provide dance lessons for my kid. I don't care what it is. You get to decide, and there's no wrong answer. But come up with something that will juice you up enough to get you out of bed in the morning. For me, business is all about freedom. Now, this is the guy who made this binder for me. And his goal when he gets out of prison, I work with prisoners developing business plans. His goal when he gets out of prison is to be a better man. He's working on that right now, but he's also wants to create a business where he could support his family.
Oh, I love that. I
Okay,
love that
so
you're
isn't that
helping
cool?
prisoners do this. I mean, talk about a mission. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, it's aligned with my mission, which is helping people expand their freedom, and a business of your own can do that.
I
All right,
love
so
that.
that's aligned with me and what's important to me. Now, that may not be why someone makes a reach in my direction, but that's why I do what I do. So then the next piece of the puzzle is to create an elevator speech. And you've heard of an elevator speech or your USP, or does that make sense? Have
Right.
you heard of
Unique
that
selling
concept before?
proposition, in case people don't know USP, unique selling proposition.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's what's different and better about you, or like, what are you going to do and for whom? What's different and what's better? And an elevator speech is just something that would cause you to tell me more about yourself. Really, it's a customer focused uh, conversation. This is what I do. And the person whom you're talking to, if it's a target, if it's a customer who would be well served to have it, they should recognize their need and the solution in what you share with them. So the elevator speech is what I do and how I do it, different and better, causing your customer to say, tell me more. But that exercise involves coming up with a USP, a unique selling proposition, something about you that's different and better in terms of what you're going to offer your clients. Spend an hour on this. You could spend the rest of your life on it, but sometimes I think the universe honors speed. I think our intuition is stronger and better than we realize. Put your first thoughts down, and if you hate it, leave it and come back to it.
right.
Does
And
this
I
make sense?
totally. And I think also, I mean, for this audience, for the Bright Entrepreneurs Club, right, this is what the club is for. So you get your first version of it down, and then
Right.
over time, let us help you refine it.
I just tossed out the title of a new book I'm working on with one of the people who I think should read this book. And when I said the title of the book to her, she just like went, oh, like, oh man, I need that so bad. And it was, how do I fire my mother? Fixing your family business. Now her mother isn't even in the business, but her brother is. Okay, so like I test the ideas that you can test it out in a community like this is a great idea. And if you guys share your elevator speeches with each other, it's going to really give you a chance to refine and play with it and practice it. It's never done, it's never wrong. And if you allow yourself to, commit to it until it gets better, we're off to the races. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Rock
Okay,
on. What's
so then in
next?
your business, you're gonna jot down your elevator speech. Then one of the other exercises is to write some goals down, maybe 5 goals. Goals are to have statements. What I want to have for money, numbers, percentages, things. There's something that you could check off as got it. So a good goal is to have $1 million in sales by 12/31/2013. It's a good goal in terms of it's measurable and it's something that you could have. All
But
right, so
okay,
sometimes
so
people,
let me ask you,
oh, go
Ellen,
ahead.
because, I think one of the difficulties, at least for me, with these to have statements is that I get caught up in, what do I need? Like what number would be okay and what would I like to have?
Well, I had an experience yesterday with this fellow I had on the phone, and it's him and his dad and one other guy, and they have a plumbing business. And I said, okay, let's just talk about goals for a second. Just ideal scene, everything you want comes true. 1 year from now, how many trucks do you have? How many employees do you have? And he said, I want to have 15 trucks. Okay. Now, how long has he been in business? Been in business for 10 years, and he currently has 2 trucks, and he wants to have 15 trucks by the end of the year. Now, what would happen if he doesn't hit that goal?
He's going to feel bad.
If he chooses to, but like, is somebody going to come and take his dog?
No, I hope not.
You see what I mean? Is somebody going to come and throw him in jail?
No. Uh-uh.
No. So if he chooses to feel bad about it, then that goal may be too big. So a goal that's too big is one that collapses you. But
Mm.
if it doesn't collapse you, then go for it. And if it does collapse, you try toning it down a little bit. I want to have 15 trucks. Okay, well, what would you want to have in 6 months? You want to have 7 trucks? I don't think I could have 7 trucks. What could you have that's going to be juicy enough that you get, kind of jazzed about it, but not so big that you don't feel bad about it? And that little tipping point is a good indicator as you come up with your goals. But put some together and know that there's no there's no downside to this. If you don't hit your goal, you get to change your goal, but you're not going to lose your dog or your kid or get thrown into jail. This is the beauty of having your own business. So we just take all of this too seriously. That's why I'm down to speed, put it down, on to the next. And
And
try and
then
set numbers that are, financial as well as, maybe number of trucks or number of employees or a vertical. I want to get a book done by, those are things that you
Right.
can, jot down. Go ahead, you're going to ask something.
How do you correlate this with that perfect life, right? Because this was the other big realization for me was a lot of the to have statements that I was coming up with were in conflict with the life that I wanted for myself.
We're thinking about. And these things should align. The perfect life is like the ultimate litmus test. If these things aren't moving in the same direction as the perfect life, then you're going to have some discord. Okay, is the perfect life that I described really what I want? That might be where you're out of sync. Or
Hmm.
is this goal that I'm setting not aligned? Maybe I should tweak the goal. But the perfect life is the senior document, and that one can be challenging, but you get to decide what you want. And if your goals aren't if they don't have congruity with what you said you want, I would tweak those goals.
Okay.
Great question. Great. And that's why this thing flows back and forth. Sometimes you go and you set the goal and then you go back to the elevator speech and you go, you know what? I got some insight there.
Yeah.
So, if you don't finish an exercise, you may be able to go back and do it, get a little more insight on it the next time around. One section of the business plan is to discuss, do I need other people? Like Hot Rod has when he had his business after we decided to do separate businesses, he worked all by himself. I call that the West Coast Chopper for model, the West Coast Chopper business model. And what it is if you're one person with a highly refined skill set, you can tell people to get in line. Get in
Hmm.
line. It's just me. You'll pay what I tell you, and you'll get in line. And he created a rock star business because he's a solar dude who has all this experience with hydronics. And people were like, I just want you to do it. Get in line. Okay. But if for me, I love the creative process. I love working with a team. So one of the things that I created in my business plan is an organizational chart. Now, if you're just starting out, but you want a team, then the organizational chart, your name's going to be in all the boxes, but you could start to see, wow, if I hired someone who could help me answer the phone and do some little bookkeeping, man, I could free up a lot of my time. The organizational chart is something you might want to map out. And even if you work all by yourself, you might decide you're going to sub out some of your accounting or sub out some of your marketing. So you could use vendors to fill in some of the boxes. But generally, an organizational chart allows us to get a handle on who else could help us with this business. Spend a little time on the org chart and then boom, on to the next exercise. But do you see how these summary exercises then are getting 3-hole punched and put in the binder? My
Yeah.
first org chart, and it was like this for many years, was pencil drawn on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
So
totally. Well, I
you
think I
don't
would
need to use
too.
Visio. I couldn't figure it out. I just drew it. Now I've got one in Visio. It's a cool program. Do you need it? No. All right. Now, the next piece of the puzzle, and this is the one that I like the most, this is your financial plan. And that's where the word budgeting comes into place. Jen, you and I could spend a whole class on just this,
Yes, we could.
creating financial goals. And in fact, maybe we should do that. We talked about what piece we would want to explore. But even if for the financial plan, the first time through, you just put a sales goal together, if you crunch some numbers in terms of some initial expenses or, started to put a little budget together, I think I give you 2 hours in the weekend biz plan to work on the budget and then shut it down.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
start it.
so I feel really good, by the way, because I actually have done this. It took me over a year to finally do it, but it was
Okay.
so enlightening. It was like I could not believe I hadn't done it until that point of just saying, like, okay, here are all the different products I think I want to make or services or whatever they are. And
Mm-hmm.
here's what price I think I can sell them at. So how many do I think I can actually sell in a month? And that process was it just blew my mind.
Isn't it fun? Okay, and then we're going to measure actual to budgeted, and again, you get to tweak and change. Like I just eliminated one of the main verticals of my business, so one-to-one consulting. I spent a lot of time doing go-to-meeting sessions with my clients, and I just went, you know what? I don't want to do it anymore. The juice ain't worth the squeeze in terms of cash. I want to use that time for something else, and so it changed. Yeah, you
It's
get
awesome.
to change. Isn't this fun? All right, so then the next section would be your marketing plan. You're going to put a marketing plan in place. This is a great place to, if you've gone to a seminar about marketing and they gave you a template for your marketing plan, three-hole punch it, stick it in the binder.
Okay.
Do you see how this like do you see how overwhelm reducing this is? You probably already have a lot of pieces of your business plan already. The binder now is just, this is my plan of all the things I've learned. This is what I'm committing to as best as I can right now. This is it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, now I'm going to jump to, you could adopt a sales group, or some people like to create a sales process. Boy, if you Google sales processes or sales training, you're going to get 14 billion hits. Find one, pick one, use their system, it becomes your system. All right, so you don't have to create everything yourself, but these are the people, these are the systems that make the final cut for you. Now they're going to be in your binder. Now here's where we can wrap up, and then I'm going to show you where you can get a little more help. I've written a couple books, and we'll steer you to my website, and you can see the products that are available. But once a week, once you put your business plan together, boom, you spend the weekend and you've got it. Once a week from there on out, I want you to review your biz plan. And I want you to have handy your business plan, any projects that you've committed to that are, your top projects list, coming up with a few projects that are going to help you move towards your plan,
Hmm.
your master to-do list, the zillion and one things you've got to do. This top projects list are the few that make it to the top. You've got your calendar, your business plan, the stuff you've committed to doing, and then you block out time. All
I
right. I
remember,
know I
I remember
Does
seeing
this
your
make sense?
calendar before, like you were so organized. Okay.
And I'm not naturally organized. See, I'm really dyslexic. I have no attention span, but I didn't like to lose. And what happened is I was trying to keep too much in my head. So once a week now, what I do is I meet with me
Yeah.
and I block out my week and I commit to time, and then I do what it tells me to do. And if I don't get it done today, I move it. If I don't get it done for a whole week, I say, am I ever going to do it or do I not want to do it? I just delete it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely, that was probably my problem. And I've actually had supervisors tell me this before too. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but I keep too much in my head. So this is very helpful. Thank you.
So what I do is during the course of the week, if something needs to be written down, I write it on my master to-do list. That's that picture of that messy spiral notebook. If you can keep track on notes on your iPhone or on your iPad, use that. But I still go all old school, even though I have all these tools. And then there are a few projects. A project is something that has a few moving parts. Now, a to-do is call your mother. A project is investigate a new pricing menu
Okay.
and create one and put it on the website. That's a project. So as you write stuff down that needs to be done or dawns on you or you learn at the seminar, prioritize. This person put their top projects in folders and hung it on the wall. Some people just keep a list on their computer of the few projects that they're working on. But some of them get moved to the front of the line. Don't have more than 10 top projects. 3 top projects might be plenty. But the
Hmm.
things that are on the top projects list should find their way to your calendar. If you're ever going to get a project done, you're going to have to commit some time. So on the calendar, you're going to mix this calendar up with things that you have to do. Like if you've already committed to work with clients, that stuff's on your calendar. And if you're going to go to your kids' program or to the t-ball game, that should be on the calendar. You're going to work out, put that on. But then you also want to build in some project time, because otherwise you're going to be on a hamster wheel of just doing it, and never making progress towards your intention, your plan.
Right.
So this once a week meeting with me changed my life. Once I put the business plan together, it was okay, but this is where you tweak the plan. You block out time, you assess your progress, you look at the results of your financial plan, your current financials compared to budget, and you go, well, that didn't work. What else could I try? Or that worked great. Maybe I should do more of that.
I'm
Look at
loving
your
this, by the
perfect
way.
life. Isn't this fun? You look at your perfect life exercise and you go, you know what? I'm making some things happen. I'm waking up with who I want to wake up with. I've got a neat life. I love my house. I really like some of my clients, but
Well,
there
and
are
I
some
think,
changes that I could make, right?
yeah, and I think this is also so important for the new entrepreneur because it's easy sometimes to feel like you're not making any progress when actually you're making huge leaps, but you're not giving yourself credit. So I imagine,
Isn't that the truth? Again, I talked to a person earlier today. I said, "Tell me some good news." Well, I really don't have any good news to report. Oh, come on. What have you got? What's changed since the last time we talked? And she then listed like these things that were just amazing, not just like slight good news that I might be able to spin into a good story, big decisions, great stuff, but she couldn't even see it. And I think that we beat ourselves up so much that when we accomplish something, we're always looking at what we have yet to do. This moment is also, this meeting with you is also for some reflection. What did I say I wanted to do, and what have I accomplished? And God bless me, celebration. Now, if I've done that, certainly I should be gaining some confidence that I can get some other things done. I can lighten up on myself. I can set an intention, put a plan together, block time out on my calendar, do things, measure the results, adjust, and just keep moving in the direction of my perfect life.
yeah, I'm with you.
Easy,
I
easy
love it.
peasy. We took a little more time than we intended.
I know. Well, that's all right. This was good
Are we
time.
okay?
This
All
was a good
right. And
time.
oh, let me show you. I've got some cool stuff that I've put together. So I want to steer folks in the direction of my website. And if you go to barebonesbiz.com, that's my website. That's right here. BareBonesBiz.com. You'll get to know me, and there's other products, etc. This program, the Challenge Home Edition, is a really cool product that we put together. There is the 6-week business plan. There is a recording of a webinar that I did with, I think we've got 30 clients on the phone where we spent 8 weeks building our business plans together, and we've got all the videos recorded for you. You can go online on a website that you can get to as part of the program and also look at those videos. All the forms are there to put your business plan together. I included the Jumpstart, the weekend business plan version of the product, and the whole shoot and match is $99. So it's a super program. If today inspired you to get going, this is a terrific toolbox for you to use to build your own business plan. If you want to learn more about me, barebonesbiz.com is a great place to go and snoop around and see a little bit more about what we have to offer. But whatever you do, call it a business plan. If it causes you to formalize your intention, write it down, move it from thought form to physical form. That is the creative process. And take some action in the direction of your dreams. Anything that causes you to do that is business planning, and you're off to the races. Are
Yeah,
you so you're going to commit to do it? Are you going to report back on how your plan's going?
I will. I will. Yeah. No, I mean, as you're going through this, I'm like, I so need to do this. And you're right, because I've already done pieces of it. I just haven't
Uh-huh.
cataloged it. I haven't put it all together. And so it really would not take me that long to do this.
Well, I'll send you a PDF of the weekend business plan. I'll do that right now. And now you've got your little template to get going. Spend a weekend, put some pieces together, and then how about if we meet for another webinar not too far in the future and review. You don't have to share anything that's personal, but like review your experiences with the process would be awesome.
Let's do it. And actually,
Let's do it.
I'm transparent. So I think this would be really helpful for people. I know it'll be helpful for me. So let's absolutely do it.
Yay! Well, thank you so much. You can tell I love, love, love talking about this. I love talking about it with you because you're so enthusiastic and you're so committed to your community that you're here to help people, make their dreams come true. I'm all for it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You guys definitely check out Ellen's website. She is just such a tour de force, as you can already see, and is so impressive and obviously knows a lot about this. So definitely go check it out and we can go through it together.
Woo! Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miss Jen.
Thank you, Ellen. All right. Take care, you guys, and go get planning.